Hey guys, I'm MLF reporter Aly Akers, and this is Inside Access After the Cast. A new episode of Major League Fishing just aired on the Outdoor Channel with the Bass Pro Shop Summit Select Survival Round 1 from Osage Beach, Missouri. I recently had the chance to sit down with two of our incredible boat officials, H.T. Conkler and Don Guy, who are with DeFoe and Zack Birge on that very intense day on the water. So Don, you were with DeFoe on this very intense day on the water. It just aired on TV. What do you think our fans are thinking right now?
I think that they have just seen a very exciting, intense, tightly contested battle between those two right to the very end.
The survival rounds to me are a little bit more intense because it's really your last chance to qualify for the cup. So this was extremely tense. There was a lot of pressure, and it was really kind of back and forth between Zack Birge and DeFoe. They were very close, kind of breathing down each other's necks. What's it like being a boat official in that type of situation?
It's really exciting, Aly, to be a boat official under those circumstances. Of course, Major League Fishing has the most exciting tournament format in professional angling. And when you're involved with one of those tightly contested situations, it's a lot of fun.
What was Ott's feelings going into the day, and what was his strategy?
Ott is always a positive angler. He's always ready to go. He is always ready to get on the water and get the day underway. So he's in a very positive frame of mind. His strategy, I think, in the early stages, was to get back into that area that he began, back in that pocket area, and start looking for wood cover, dock cover, throwing relatively shallow crankbaits, perhaps some shaky head and that kind of thing to just start trying to find where the fish might be.
In period 2, he really kind of found his groove, and he wanted to do something new, and he found that creek. He wanted to go way, way back there. Talk about this part of the show.
He had initially looked at that area, or could see a portion of this area in the first period, because it was on the outskirts. It was on the boundary of this sort of large pocket that several anglers had fished in during that first period. And so he had contemplated possibly going back in there in the first period. In the second period, he's back in this general area, and that's when he decides to move back in there. Now, this is an area that's extremely shallow. Shallow sandbars, then there'll be a pocket of water, another shallow sandbar, and shoals. There's no way he can move the boat, and float it completely. I mean, he gets out of the boat and starts pushing the boat back into this area with an extreme effort. I mean, it's hot, it's difficult, it's heavy work. He is really, really working very, very hard to get this done, and he only goes halfway back in the second period. And then he gets back in the boat and starts making casts and catches a number of fish.
And so then that's when he decided, after that last period break, he wanted to go back to that same spot, but he wanted to go even farther back than he was, because he kind of had a hunch that there could potentially be some good fish back here that could help me seal the deal and get my ticket to the Summit Cup.
You're exactly right. He had that feeling that there were fish back there, and probably fish back there that hadn't seen a lure in some time. Now, he knew he was taking a huge risk, because it was one of those situations where they may be back there, or there may be no fish in that area. He was willing to take that gamble. Now, this time, in the third period, it required even greater effort to get the boat back in there, because he has to start all over where we were, push as far back as he did in the second period, and then again push it even further to get all the way back into this area that he had spotted.
What were you thinking at this point?
Well, you feel kind of funny, obviously sitting in this boat while this guy is Ott's out there just pushing as hard as he can and working that hard. And under ordinary circumstances, you'd be out helping him, but you can't do that. I mean, obviously that would be a violation of the rules. So you feel kind of weird actually sitting in the boat while Ott's out there just working as hard as he can to maneuver this boat and get it back into a position that he wanted to reach.
He took a risk, he took a leap of faith, and it paid off. This was a very intense survival round. Ott did a lot of work to clinch that top position to make it to the Summit Cup. How excited was he?
He was thrilled. I mean, he was absolutely elated, and you could understand why. I mean, of course, our anglers are happy to finish on top anytime they do. In this particular case, Ott had worked so hard. I mean, he had worked so hard and given such an extreme effort physically just to position the boat where he wanted it. He was elated. He was really, really happy.
You were in the boat with Zack Birge on really what was only his second day fishing the MLF format. What is he like as a competitor?
He's a great competitor. I mean, he's geared up, and he's going to win a lot of tournaments. He's really an exciting guy to watch.
Zack came into survival round 1 after a really close first day of competition with Jason Christie, just barely missing out on first place. So what was his attitude like coming into this day?
Well, he was excited. He knew he'd catch fish, and he knew he caught a lot of fish on that first day of fishing, Major League Fishing. Matter of fact, I talked to his boat official, which was Martin Carner, and Martin told me, he said, he's catching a lot of fish on this whopper plopper. And sure enough, that's what he pulled out when he was in the survival round, was that. So he was ready.
Well, he had an incredible day of fishing. He almost finished in first place, but unfortunately he got second place again, just by a few pounds. What do you think that's like for him?
Well, I could tell he was disappointed. He really wanted to go to the Cups, and so this is his second shot at it. He caught a lot of fish, and him and Ott all day long were back and forth, and it just turned out it wasn't his day. But he can catch fish.
By the time you finished survival round 1 being a boat official, you had been with a few other anglers throughout the week. What was it like being with Zack compared to all the other anglers?
I saw Zack as, he's young, but what I saw in Zack is something you don't see in a whole lot of anglers. We got professionals out there, all of them are professionals, but he's in the top rung. He's gonna be one of those guys that really are gonna do good in bass fishing. And I saw that in Zack. I mean, he knew he'd catch fish, and what he knew he'd catch fish on, that's what he used. And so he's an upcoming star.
When your angler is constantly going back and forth with another angler for first place, really trying to battle it out to the end, what's that like for you as the boat official?
Well, one thing I want to do, I want to make sure I keep track of Score Tracker. So I'm looking at Score Tracker, and I'm going to give Zack an update when any movement on it, especially if he's running first and second, the guy he's competing with. But I want him to know where he's at, if he's ahead by how much, if he's behind by how much. And to me, that's my job to make sure that Zack knows what's going on.
And I know it's hard because you guys are friends with these anglers, but you're also very professional because you're their boat official and you're calling the game and you're not there to be their friend. But he had such a big day, so are you kind of maybe secretly cheering him on very professionally?
Correct, and that's one of the things we learn as a boat official, and we teach this to all the boat officials. Your business while you're out there in the boat. You like to be friends. Matter of fact, Zack is from Oklahoma. He went to school at OSU. I graduated from OSU. My wife graduated from OSU. My son graduated from OSU. Do you think I not was pulling for Zack? But I couldn't show that. I mean, we do all the same with all anglers. We're all business out there. But we want to keep them informed. We want to see them do good, but we don't show that on the film.
Well, as an Oklahoma State University graduate myself, I was very excited to see another OSU grad do so well.
Yep, I agree.
A huge thank you to both of our boat officials for answering some questions about this episode. Lake of the Ozarks has been a fantastic fishery and has really produced some great shows. So be sure to tune into the last episode of the Bass Pro Shop Summit Select from Osage Beach, Missouri to see who will be our last angler to qualify for the Summit Cup.